Okay. Okay. Where y'all from?
Kansas City.
You live here? Yeah, cool. You got a band? Good deal. Can't wait to hear y'all. My name is Scott Collier. I'm the Assistant Talent Director for world famous Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, Honky Tonk Central, Rippy's Honky Tonk, Kids Rock's Big Ass Honky Tonk. In 1992, Lower Broadway was a very bad area. It was so bad the city of Nashville was going to tear Tootsie's down if we'd been lost forever. Steve Smith, I named him the Honky Tonk Godfather because he saved Tootsie's. He camped out on a Lazy Boy recliner for 3 months, finally got Tootsie's declared a historical landmark. Together, him, our boss, Uncle John Taylor, saved this town. That's why we're here, and our rights. What we're going to do today is we're going to get you up. I'm not going to talk very much because I got a bunch of stuff I'm going to be working on. Darren's going to come up and talk, Anita's going to talk, and fill you in on what we do here at Honky Tonk School. Basically what we do is we teach you to make a living at what you love to do on Broadway. I know most of you play in your hometowns and stuff, but once you get here, it's a different animal. There's the ways that we do things and the way that Uncle John's carried it on for the past 30 years. So we're really excited to have you on. We want to hear all the new players and all that. This Sunday, we have Tootsie's birthday bash. We got several big artists on the show, a lot of surprise artists, and if the artists come through, you're going to have a heart attack. Yeah. It's awesome. It's exciting. We've been doing this every year since 2010. So what we do is we close Broadway down, put a big old concert stage up by Tootsie's, and we go from 11 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, and it's a party. So if y'all ain't doing nothing Sunday, come down and support Tootsie's and check it all out. Artists, it's very exciting times. With that being said, I'm gonna get my buddy Darren up here. He's gonna talk to you. Darren has been working for Uncle John at Honky Tonk School. Uncle John, our boss, served for your freedom in the United States Marine Corps. He's in town today, so we hope we see him pop in. He probably will. This guy here has worked for Uncle John longer than I have. He's been looking 26 years. Darren's got a lot of wisdom, man. He's been there, done that, traveled the world, playing for all the troops overseas. Played the Grand Ole Opry. He's been there and done that. From the great state of Canada, or country of Canada, my buddy Darren Terrio.
Thank you, Scott.
Yes, sir.
How many people's their first time here today?
1, 2.
Right on. Well, some of you have heard my spiel multiple times, so just bear with it. Yeah, like Scott said, I've been here quite a while. I got here January of '99, January 25th. And, I think like a lot of you guys, I played since I was a preteen, and got in different bands, and then, started playing some bars and stuff, and I was just kind of frustrated with the band I was in. The band has a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities, why they're there, and that's fine. Some just want to do it on the weekend and not really try to go any further. Some just want to party. Some want to chase girls. That's fine. But music had a kind of a deeper hold on me. I really couldn't get enough. It was just an insatiable thing. I just wanted to keep learning and learning and learning. And I wanted to be around other musicians on the stage that were way better than me. I wanted to be the worst in the bands so I could learn. And after one frustrating gig, I said to my fellow bandmates, I'm going to move to Nashville. I've had enough of this. I'm pissed off. I'm going to go to Nashville where everybody's serious. And as it came out of my mouth, I kind of thought, okay, now you're accountable. I can't come back to the gig next week. they say, oh, big guy, you were going to go to Nashville, but you're back here at the local pub, you know. So I think part of why I said it was because it's quite an undertaking to leave your hometown and come here, you know, to chase your dreams, you know. And a lot of times, maybe where you're living, people don't think you can do it, or like, well, you know, nobody does that from this town. That's for other people. That doesn't happen to you, you know. And it's really a big thing to move to this town. So you really got to give yourself a lot of credit, because I honestly believe pulling the trigger and coming to this town is a huge undertaking. You know, you have something special that a lot of people really don't have, to really pull the trigger and go for it, go into the unknown. You know, because that's a huge thing. A lot of people dream about doing it, but they can't seem to pull the trigger. So you guys already possess something that's very special, and don't forget that, because this journey that you hit a lot of challenging moments for sure. You know, so yeah. So I got here, and you know, I drove down. I was living in Alberta at the time, in Calgary, and it was like a 2-day drive. You know, drove down, and you know, at that time, you know, country was really big. It was the 90s, and there was the Wild Horse Saloon. There was all these line dancing shows, and just the Nashville network. It was a big thing, you know. And I didn't know much about Nashville except what I read on the cassette jackets or the CD jackets. Of, you know, recorded here, and this player did this, and you know, this is recorded here. And so I got down here, and I didn't know anybody in this town. I didn't know anybody in this country, you know. But I heard about Tootsie's. So I got down here, and I thought, okay, I know what I want to do, but how do you get there? You know, how do you start the process of getting closer to what you want? And, you know, I heard about Tootsie's, and you know, it's you got to network. That's such a huge thing. You got to network. You got to get out there and meet people, because you know, you may be the most talented singer or writer or performer or player, but if you don't get out there, they're not going to come find you. You know, they're not going to come looking for you. So you've got to network. It's all who you know, and you never know where your break's going to come from. So I advise you to meet everybody in this room, exchange numbers, because you don't know where your next call or your first call is going to come from. You know, guitar players just don't meet guitar players. Meet everybody, because you never know where it's going to come from. And the more people you meet, the greater the chances of you taking a step closer to your goal. So network. So I got down here, and you know, I walked into Tootsie's, and immediately I was struck by how small it was, because I just assumed it was a huge club like the Wild Horse, which is now Luke Combs, you know, Category 10 club. You know, I just thought it'd be Tootsie's. It's such a big name. It's got to be, you know, Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, Patsy Cline, you know, these huge iconic names. So I just thought it'd be this ginormous club, and I walked in, and the drummer's right over my right shoulder, and you know, you could see to the back of the room, and it was really small, and you know, I wondered, was it in the right place? But I went in, and there was a band on stage playing, and I went to the back, and I just kind of sat down and just looked at all the pictures on the walls. And at that point, there wasn't plexiglass protecting, they were just framed pictures, you know, and some weren't framed. And I kept listening to the band, and I was kind of immediately struck by what a great band. Like, I never heard a band like that. You know, they weren't like doing acrobatics on their instruments, but everybody knew their position in the band, and they played for the whole. They were a team play. It was like a football team. Everybody knew their position and what they were supposed to do to make the whole wonderful. Like the drummer was playing, you know, the correct part to the record. He wasn't using the song as a vehicle to showcase his double kick thing he's been working on at home. the bass player was playing the right parts. The bass and the drummer were playing the right kick patterns together, Everybody's working for the whole. The fiddle player was playing the right fills. He was only filling the verses. The steel player was only filling the choruses and the intro. The guitar player was doing the right parts. It was really amazing because I never witnessed a band like that, because every band I witnessed was they just use a song as a vehicle to showcase what they wanted to do in their bedroom, So I kept listening, and then it started to dawn on me as a singer would introduce the players, Here's Johnny Carpenter from Mark Chestnut's band. Here's John Layton on guitar from Clay Walker's band. Here's Craig Adelphia on fiddle from Sammy Kershaw's band. Here's Roger Bob on bass from Alan Jackson's band. So I immediately kind of got, okay, these are the pros. These are the big time guys. And that's why they sounded so great. The harmonies were wonderful. The lead singer was singing the parts, and his pocket was so great. He wasn't rushing, and he was audible. He was pronouncing his words. It was just I never witnessed anything like that, but it made a lot of sense because these were the top guys, what they did, And a lot of these guys played on the artist record also, and that's a whole other animal to be a studio guy, So I kind of got it, and I kept showing up, and the singer kind of recognized I was coming back night after night, and he said, "Hey, you want to get up? Where are you from? What do you do?" I said, "I just moved here, and I play bass." "Well, you want to get up?" And I wanted to, but I realized I didn't know. I knew maybe 10% of the material, because these were all, at that point, they were all my age or older, like in their later 50s, 60s, and they get together to play the songs that they grew up on, songs from the 60s and 70s, and I didn't know a lot of that. And I knew if I got up and I just made mistake after mistake, they'd be all kind, like Southern hospitality. They'd smile and shake my hand and thank me for getting up, but that would be it. They'd never invite me again, and that door would be closed. And that little purple building was my only lead I had in this country, in my music journey. That was the only thing I had. And luckily I said, no, I think I'm just going to listen, thank you so much. And I knew that I had to learn these songs, because if I got up and made mistakes, like I said, that'd be it. And I'd be driving back to Calgary, And so I thought, there wasn't iPhones, I couldn't just record the songs. So I went to Radio Shack, and I got a little mini tape recorder, and just kept it in my pocket. And every time a song come on I didn't know, I'd record it. And I did that for maybe 7 days to 10 days, to where I felt I had a really good grasp on this band's repertoire. And I kept coming back, and I sort of developed as an acquaintance or superficial friendship with these guys. I'd remember their names, and they'd remember mine. And they asked me again, "You sure you don't want to sit in?" And I said, "Okay, yeah, I'd love to today." So I got up there, and I was able to get through the songs. The recordings I made weren't good, but I know the changes and I knew the structure. So I got up there, and I was able to get through the songs, and I was petrified. I'd seen these guys in a lot of the music videos, or the live performances, and I'm standing right next to them. It was pretty intimidating, but I was able to get through it. And I kept sitting in kind of regularly, and then a position came open with one of the bands down here at Tootsie's, and I was able to land a gig down here, and it was, I just couldn't believe how fortunate I was, and I remember writing a postcard to my mother, because in the span of 1 week, I played with a guy from Merle Haggard's band. He was one of the Strangers, and I played with a guy from Buck Owens' band, who was a buckaroo, and then I played with one of Bob Will's Texas Playboys. So I said I played with a Stranger, a buckaroo, and a Playboy all in 1 week. And I'm sure my mother didn't even know what I meant, but it meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to me. And so I got a regular gig down here. And then, like I said, the band was comprised of all the side guys for the stars, because you know, you're on an artist gig, you only play their 15 songs if you're a headliner. If you're an opening act, you play maybe 5. So these were the musicians of the musicians. Those are the guys that I was similar to, that they couldn't get enough. When they weren't on the bus or on the road, they'd come down here and play songs they all loved together. And you know, you couldn't make a living. A big night was like $70 here. There wasn't a set of guys that made a living on this street, because it wasn't possible. There was like 3 clubs. There was Tootsie's, Legend Corner, and Roberts, and then Music City Bar and Grill, which is now Rippy's. So, you know, you couldn't make a living, and the quality of the singers and the musicians was so epic, because now there's so many clubs, and a lot of the quality has dropped a lot. But back then, it was just the real guys. You know, and I'm so lucky I got here just at the end of that, as that started to end, as the street got busier. But I got in on the tail end, and that was my Honky Tonk School. You know, there wasn't really a Honky Tonk School when I got here, but I got to stand next to these guys who were 20, 30 years older than me and just learn. And that's what a gift for me. Really epic. Yeah. And so, you know, those guys were playing with the stars, and when a guy leaves an artist band, it's not an open audition, you know, it's like, it's word of mouth, you know, because you don't put an ad in the paper, you know, it's all, you gotta know the quality of the player. You gotta know that he can play, you gotta know that he does his homework, you gotta know that he's a good hang, doesn't have any addiction problems, because, you know, you get on a bus going to California, you know, the bus becomes really small if there's someone that's really hard to deal with. And if you recommend someone that, you know, has a drug problem or a drinking problem, or he's just really tough to get along with, or he doesn't learn the parts, you know, your credibility is gone, because you recommended this guy and he's not what you said he was. So, and I'm the same way. I never recommend anybody unless I know they can play, they do their homework, you know, they don't have drug problems or alcohol problems, because, you know, you don't want to send someone into a really prestigious camp and they can't hang, and you just give yourself a bad name. So I got recommended for my first gig in 2000. And I was able to stay in that world till 2018. And you know, like Scott said, I got to go to Iraq and Kosovo and Cuba and all these different places for the troops, which was amazing. Got to travel many places across the world, you know. My mom got to see me on multiple TV shows. I'd always give her a little signal. When I was ever on a TV show, I'd make sure I was positioned behind the artist, and I kind of give her a little L sign that I loved her. You know, and she'd always, next day I call her and she goes, "I saw your sign." You know, so that was just very precious, and my mom was so supportive of trying what I tried to do, you know, to leave my country and come down here. And of course she was worried, you know. I've got an 8-year-old, I'd be petrified if she, or when she leaves home, you know. But I got to do all that. I got to play the Grand Ole Opry multiple times in Ryman, a lot of really prestigious venues across this country and Canada, and it's really been an incredible journey, you know. But at the same time, when I wasn't traveling, I'd be playing down here because I love to play, you know. It just, I couldn't get enough, and you know, as the street grew and the money got better, and you know, like I mentioned, I have a young daughter. In 2018, when I got off my last tour, you know, the street was getting busy enough where I could make a living and stay home. And you know, I've been going down the highway for 30 years, and I thought, okay, that was fun, but now I don't want to sleep in my bed. I don't want to sleep on an airplane or in my bunk anymore, or in a hotel room. It was wonderful, and I'm grateful that I did it when I was younger, but you know, I want to go home at night and see my wife and my daughter, you know. And but then I still get to play all day. he's just an amazing thing. Like, I couldn't have thought of a better plan for my retirement age. It's really funny because it goes so quickly, you know. It seems like 4 or 5 years ago I was in my 20s, you know, on the tour bus. But it goes very quick. You know, and I just want to share some of the basic principles that allowed me to reach my goals. You know, I think I play good, but I'm not the best at that by any means. I'm not, you know, I do work on it, but, you know, there's a lot more to it. You know, you got to play. And this street is very different than anywhere else, because any other gig you take, here's a set list, learn them, we're going to do these songs in this key. Okay, pretty easy, you just got to put in some work. But here we take requests. That's how the street works. You know, you take requests. So you gotta have a really big repertoire of songs. You know, or if, like, yesterday I was playing downstairs here, and we got a request for Ella Langley, Weren't for the Wind. Never even heard of it. You know, the singer said, hey, can we do this? And we listened on our phone for a second, and we got through it. You know, it wasn't stellar by any means, but this morning, before I come to school, I charted it and I learned it. Because when you don't know a song and you play bass, the minutes turn to hours. You hit a clam, like any other bass players or any musician knows, when the bass player doesn't hit the right note, it's very painful. So I learned that this morning, and that's, you know, that's, I think that mindset is what allowed me to work here, and I still do it. A song comes up I don't know, or I'm kind of shaky on a section, I make a note on my phone, and my next day off, I do my homework. And you know, that's such a basic thing, but I think there's not a lot of awareness about that, because that may seem like, oh, we only get a request for the song once every 3 or 4 months. Yeah, but you know, you get a name very quickly on the street. You know, you may be a great player, but if the song comes up that you don't know, and then next week it comes up again, and you still don't know it, you get a name of, yeah, he plays great, but he doesn't do his homework. And now, as we all know, there's such a surplus of players that want my gig and our gigs. So you got to do your homework, because you get a name very quickly. He plays great, but you know, we had this song last week and the week before, and he still hasn't learned it. All right, well, let me check my phone. What other guitar players can we call? You know, show up on time. Very basic thing, you know, that kind of gets overlooked. Oh, we're musicians and we sleep in and we're hungover, and you know, okay, in traffic, and yeah, but if you don't show up on time, you know, if the singer's on stage and you know you run in a downbeat, you know, the manager is giving the singer hell. Hey, we got to start. Our doors are open. Or like, you know, if you're on an afternoon gig or a night gig, hey, we're losing our crowd because the band hasn't started. Because there's so many options. They can go upstairs or go 20 feet in one direction. There's another set of 3 stages. You know, so you gotta be on time. And when you run in at downbeat, the singer's getting hell from the manager, and that whole vibe doesn't work with music, you know. And then you get a name very quickly. Oh, he plays good, but he's always late. Okay, well, who else can we call? You know, so you get a name quickly. You know, and drinking or drugs. You know, if and I've been in many situations where stellar players, but halfway through the set they're drunk or they're too stoned, and they're not paying attention, or they're on their phone, or you know they physically can't play anymore, and it's really sloppy. You know, and you get a name very quickly. He's a great player, but you know, by this halfway through the set he's drunk. You know, or he's too stoned to play. Okay, who else do we got? Because there is a surplus. You know, there's probably 200 bass players that come and go on the street. You know, so you got to, if you want to do this, you got to be a professional. So be sober, show up sober, leave sober. Be a good hang. You know, we've all shared the stage with people that are very angry or very jaded, and you know, nobody wants to be around that. You know, he can play, but God, he's so tough to be around with, and he's always angry, and You know, nobody wants to be around that. And like I said, there's such a surplus of people now. Well, he's always angry, you know, okay, who else can we call? You know, or if there's someone that's struggling, you know, we all have our suffering. I certainly do, we all do. But the stage is a place of healing. So leave that at the door, come in and give yourself a little gift of staying out of your head for the set. Just give yourself a break, because, you know, our thoughts are constantly, it's like a nonstop radio, and if you're battling something mentally with another part of your life, you need a break. So come in and play and have a little peace just for a little bit. And if you see somebody struggling, maybe offer a few kind words, because I know they're not getting that from anybody. You know, so if you can do that, you'd be surprised. It's like I got these little stop sign red flowers in my yard, and at night when I come home from my gig, they're closed up. But in the morning when I wake up, they're open because there's a little sun on them. It sounds cheesy, but it's the truth. Show a little kindness. Some of the most difficult people are my closest friends now. And you'd be surprised what kindness can do. So those are 4 basic principles, you know, that can really help you on your journey. And, you know, whatever your goal is, if you just want to get in the circuit and like, oh my God, if I want to get in the circuit and play for a living, that'd be so good. Or if you want to go the distance, if you're an artist and you guys want to be big stars, these are basic things that will help you. Just really use your awareness. These things will never hurt you, you know. And plus playing down here, you get paid to get better at what you do. If you're a front man or a front lady, you get paid to hone your skills on how to interact with the crowd, how to interact with the band. You know, it's amazing. You get paid to get better, you know, so you can go on to that next step. You know, so that's a wonderful gift, you know. Like this famous studio musician, bass player Glenn Moore, you know, I read his name on cassettes and CDs for years before I came down here. And he did a live gig once a week at the Bluebird Cafe, and I went in to see him a couple times, and I finally got the nerve up to come talk to him. And this is after 3 months being in town, and I walked up to him and said, hey, I'm Darren, you know, I've read your name so many times on these credits, and you know, just a wonderful player. And you know, I was pretty new in town, so I said to him, you know, naively, I said, you got any advice for a new guy just coming to town? And really, how do you answer that? There's so many variables. How do you answer that? And you know, he was bent over coiling up his cable was the end of the gig. And he was taking a little longer, and I thought he was kind of shaking a little bit. So I thought he was giggling or something. And he picked up his head, and he had his cable in his hand, and he looked at me and said, take care of the music, and the music will take care of you. And I just stopped and thought about that. And I thought about that on the drive home, and I kept thinking about that. Well, what does that mean? Okay, you got to learn the songs, you got to do your homework, okay? You got to be respectful of the gig. You can call for a gig. If you show up early, you show everybody you're grateful to be there. You know, you stay sober and do your best. That shows you're grateful to be there, because you get one chance to make a first impression. There's no second chances. You know, be a good hang. Like I said, nobody wants to be around angry people. So that's taking care of the music, you know. And it dawned on me, and I started implementing that, and I was able to reach everything I wanted to do. It's unbelievable, you know. When the first floor here is full, there's more people downstairs than in my hometown. You know, I somehow it worked out. But I really feel that those principles have allowed me to do it. You know, and this Tootsie's, you know, that little purple palace, that little stage, half the stage of this, has been the launching point for all my goals. That's what got me in the door. That's what started me. That's who I learned from, all the veterans there. You know, that was ground zero, and I got to do everything. You know, and this street and Tootsie's is still taking care of me. You know, it's still taking care of me. I get to play all day. I can make a living. I get to go home and be a dad. You know, it's just been amazing. Tootsie's and the organization has been so kind to me. And you know, as you get older and you have less life in front of you, you start thinking about the bigger picture. Because I'm going to return to the earth. We all are. What do I want to leave here? I want to leave information. I want to save you wrong turns, and I want to help you all reach your goals, because I got to do it. I got to do it, and I'm still doing it because of the kindness of the ones that come before me. And I know there'll be people here that are going to go the distance and pass on that energy. Just pass it on, because that energy never stops. You know, it was passed on to me from some veterans, and now I'm giving you information. So please keep those principles in mind, and I really feel you can reach all your goals if you do that. And I think, hey, hello, young man. This is Uncle. This is Uncle John. He's the director of office.
Darren's been with us a long time. When I first got here a long time ago, I walked in and Darren was on the stage playing with a band. Okay, my brother Steve Smith saved Tootsie's and this Broadway. Believe it or not, that's exactly what happened. I came back down here in, I think, '97 to help, and Darren was already here. But in the early days, it was completely dead and dangerous down here. You're very lucky. What we did, and we brought Music City back. We brought Music City back, and when I came in here, as my brother was getting other units and building other places, we built Rippy's and then Honky Tonk Central, Broadway Brew House, and just kept on going. And Honky Tonk Central and a couple of other things. But as we started, I'm saying, okay, I'm a music freak. Totally a fucking music freak. Excuse my language, but I curse like a Marine, because I am a goddamn Marine. Okay? I fought a war for this country, and I understand a lot of things, but also I'm crazy as you can get. Okay? But I knew if we're going to do this, we need the best music that we can get. I understand we had the biggest club in Brooklyn up there, Club Serena, R&B club I had in the 70s and 80s. Okay? And I just loved music. And as I came down here, I said, okay, well, I'm going to create a school, because if I'm going to do this, we're going to train you what to do. We're going to make sure you get on that stage, and everything Darren said, stay sober, be on time, okay? Focus, get up there and party, have fun, dance, put a show on, look at everybody in the whole damn building and wave at them and say, hi, where are you from? Connect. This is a entertainment. That's what we do. We entertain people. You may be the lousiest singer, believe me. I've hired some of the damn lousiest singers in this country, and they turned out pretty damn good. Okay? Because we know how to train them. We get them vocal lessons. We do everything slowly, make sure. But the biggest thing is, when I walk around, or some of the other people, I don't walk around. I walk around in Florida now, y'all. I'm old. I'm 76 years old, but I'm up here for the birthday bash and for the veterans, okay? We do a whole venue for my veterans. I do a thing called Freedom Sings USA with some people, bunch of people, and we've grown for 14 years. We're in now 28 states and like 100 and something cities. It's amazing. it's saving people from killing themselves. Post-traumatic stress is hell, believe me. But I want you to all, if you write songs, put your hands up. Are you good at it? Keep your hands up. Oh, damn, we got some songwriters in here. Okay? How many of you got a hit? Ah, what is that? There's one right there. He got his hand up. Okay? That's the key. Focus. You get together with a bunch of you, okay? You write. You come up with ideas. One person, if one person's got an idea, make yourself a group. Okay? Connect. And we've got professionals that I do turn people on to. If I like what they do, I help them. Some of the songwriters that work with my veterans, Don Goodman wrote Old Red, Angels Among Us, and a bunch of other shit. Okay? Probably about 50 more. There's a great person, Steve Dean. There's a bunch of guys that really understand what I'm doing, and they help me and I help them. So they come in and write. If anybody in here that thinks they want to write with it, because it's not just a writing, it's a lesson. They will show you things just like we try to do, is create you and understand what you need. And they will do that for you. So that's a big factor. I'm going to turn this over. I want to thank all of y'all for coming. Welcome to Honky Tonk School, and I hope I see you on some of these stages around here. Who's up next?
Anita. Where's Anita?
Where's that beautiful lady? Oh, the best drummer in this whole street.
Here she is.
Miss Anita Hill. Where is she at? Somebody kidnapped her?
She's on her way.
There she comes. Oh. How you doing, Miss Anita? Well, huh? I know, I've been hiding.
Thank you, sweetie.
All right, how about a hand for JT? This man right here is such a good judge of character and people as well. It's really so interesting to watch him and to glean from him. It's an honor. Thank you. Yep. And I could brag on him for days, but I can't because he's here. And then we'll give him the big head. I don't want to give him the big head. So yeah, it's a privilege to have him here. Okay, question for you, thought-provoking. What stands in the way of who you are now and where you want to be? Is it talent? Hey, George. What is it? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Is it talent? Is it talent? Self-doubt? Consistency. Consistency, man. You gotta, and learning those tunes and learning, because it is different, like Darren was saying, it's different here than anywhere else in the world. Because, on the road, I've done that too. You have your set of songs, you know them, you know what order they're coming in. It's a much different thing here than anywhere. There's people coming in from all over. You play what they want to hear. It's the old honky tonk hustle. So when you play their favorite song, you just made a fan for life, right? They're on your team then, if you can do that. So we have to be so well versed on what's on the radio. You can't know it all. You try, right? We try. But it's different here because you never know what's coming around the corner. You never know. So part of that is doing your share of the preparation, right? So the consistency. Because your greatest resource not only is your mind, but it's your time, right? You can't get that back, right? If you fiddle fart your time away on videos or whatever, then what? You know what I mean? Like this time, and you guys are amazing, you're chasing your dreams, right? How many of you have just huge dreams? Right. So it's not gonna just happen for you, right? It's not gonna just, You have to go after it. You have to roll up your sleeves. You have to pursue it with all your guts, right? So learning those tunes, being teachable, record yourself. Record yourself, video it, right? But first listen, wait a few days, first of all, because we're our own worst critics, most of us. Wait a few days, turn the phone over, don't watch, but just listen. And you will hear more than you think you would hear if you were, because you're zeroed in, right? Write down what it is that you hear that you would like to change, right? Then watch it, but turn the sound off. And you'll pick up on, because people pick up on so much from you, us, that we don't even realize, right? We say so much without saying a word. So, are you portraying confidence? That's a big thing, right? Shoulders back, chest up, stomach in, eye contact, smile, right? That's a big thing. This business is all about people. It's all about people. Where would we be if it wasn't for people? And this is the South, so the Southern hospitality is our legends, right? That's our, we want to hang on to that. And we're a melting pot, so just remember. Like, you know, and I hear from people that come in from New York all the time, I can't believe how friendly everybody is. It's amazing. If people said hi to you in New York and you're walking down the street, they would think something's wrong with you, or you want something, you know. So Southern hospitality, man, hang on to that, hang on to that. Portray confidence, eye contact, where are you from? Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Period. When I talk to friends that are in town and they're going around and listening to people, the main thing they notice, and talent is amazing. We have to, obviously, you wouldn't be here if you didn't have talent. But it's a people business. Life is a people business. Your ability to communicate, your ability to make somebody feel seen is huge. And it doesn't, you know, the little things are big, right? Little things are big. So how else may you portray confidence? Somebody weigh in on this that I didn't mention. Is there anything anybody can think of? George. See, I just threw you under the bus, didn't I? That's what you get. You go away. You come here, you go away for how long were you away? Because you were here before, right? Yeah. How long ago was that?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So see, you get the honorary, I throw you under the bus. Yeah, welcome back, by the way. So how can you portray confidence? How do you, because you do have confidence, you do portray confidence. I saw it Saturday.
I think being confident, working the fine line between being confident and cocky, like staying humble.
Talk about that. Come up here.
Uh,
I'm gonna throw you under, I might as well throw you all the way under.
All right. Hey, everybody. Well, I came here like 2 years ago. I auditioned. I had never played with a band. I played like 20 solo shows. I had a set list of about 50 songs, which nobody wanted to hear on Broadway. They were like Zach Bryan, you know, all this under the radar stuff. But I went back home because I sucked, and I went to a bunch of open mics where I met my band right there. And we've been playing for a couple of years, and now I've got 500 plus shows under my belt. I'm big into taking requests, so I moved down here because I know the request game. But I did vocal lessons and all that back home, and those guys, I mean, they're very good. We're all very good, and we all get told all the time that we should be famous and blah, 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 and all this stuff. I don't know about them, but I did, I would say, towards the end of last year, start getting cocky, not just confident, which then a lot of people got pretty turned off to me, even just local guys in KC, because then nobody likes a guy that's cocky. So I started learning, like you said, to be more grateful and not just expect to be thrown, you know, just because you're good doesn't mean you just get to play wherever you want, whenever you want. So that was another big lesson I learned, thankfully, before I came down here again. So yeah, just stay humble. I always, you know, I'm very confident. I know I'm good now, but I try to stay humble, and I don't expect anything, because I know, like in the blink of an eye, it can all change and go away. And I'm cool with that too. If that happens, it is what it is. I've had a good time so far, but just try to stay grounded, I guess. Don't get too cocky. That's the biggest lesson I've learned so far.
Thank you. Because there really isn't any room to be cocky here in Tennessee. the guy changing your tire, you know, your oil in your car, probably sings and writes better than you do. You know, it's on every corner, every place you go, every realtor, every whatever, right? There's so many talented people here just coming out of the woodwork, right? So yeah, that will never serve anybody, and that gets around fast, because who you are as a person. It may seem like a big town, it really isn't, because it gets around. Like I remember when my first experience with that is somebody talking about, and there was a real talented bass player at the time, genius, just so crazy good, but he was a little crazy train, right? And they would consider him for artist gigs, but the word got out about him, they wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. He couldn't get an artist gig. So, like Darren said, being a good hang, being a team player. Teamwork makes the dream work. So, no one person is the whole show. You gotta share the limelight. So when you're up there, if you're doing a band shift, or if you're doing an acoustic shift, if your guitar player is doing a solo, look at him, build him up, right? Lift him up. Share the love, right? And people see it and they love it too. When they can tell that you get along as a band, that is a whole new level of appreciation from the crowd, because they know, right? They know. And honestly, like my favorite people to play with, I used to have a singer, he moved back home, but it didn't matter if we were playing on the roof and it was raining. He was like, oh, it's gonna be a great day. I can feel it, it's gonna be a great day. I never heard him say, well, this sucks. And to me, that is gold, because your attitude spreads, whether it's good or bad. So I love to keep people in my circle personally that have good attitudes, because there's a million players that are amazing, but to me, oh my goodness, that attitude is so important, right? And Joe Reed, you were talking about Joe Reed earlier, Merle Haggard's bass player, and what a treasure. Like, I don't think I've ever played a gig with him where he wasn't giving his whole heart, from just loving it and moving and grooving and playing amazing and good attitude. And gosh, that's so valuable. Again, because it spreads to the guys on stage, to the crowd, right? Because our goal is what? To entertain them, for them to have fun, for them to forget about the problems. That's the gift we're giving them. We've been given a gift, the gift of music, the gift of our talent, but it's not for us. It's to give, it's for them, right? That makes us, that's amazing. That's amazing. And what gets me out of bed in the morning is seeing you guys come into your own, right? Seeing you show up week after week, seeing you do the hard work. I love it, I love it. So another thing real quick I want to add is, once you do get on the schedule, if you're scheduled, show up. If you're in a bad mood, if you don't feel like it, maybe you have a toothache, suck it up, buttercup, show up. If you're gonna say you're gonna do it, right? Because when you, in some of the best gigs, I remember, especially on the road, because we had breaks then and we would get out and talk to people. We always did, I was trained that way. Whether you feel like it or not, you get out, you meet people, you talk to them every town you go to. Here is a little different, because you're on stage for 4 hours or 3 hours, and you don't get those breaks. But when you do what you're supposed to do, and do it with all your heart, your feelings will follow. You know, I've gone through some brutal stuff, right? But the gigs are a place that you forget about that. You focus on other people. It's like therapy, really, honestly, right? So, and Timmy is a prime example of, can you come tell about the snowstorm? I love this so much. I love this. This is grit right here. This is true grit.
Thank you, Anita. My name is Tim C. Gibson, also known as Timmy Z to my friends. My little story is that 2 Octobers ago, I came to my first meeting here. So I've been here for 2 years, and I came to my first meeting. I got my band on the stage, and we rehearsed for 5 months, every day, every week, sometimes twice a week, when there was nobody up here, just like learning songs and figuring out transitions, busting out harmonies and all that stuff, just because we were like, I want to be the best that we can possibly be. Every week we were like kind of hoping for a shift, and another week would pass. We're like, all right, that's cool. We're gonna use this to keep rehearsing, and eventually we'll get on the schedule. So it's like a Tuesday night or something like that, and there's a massive snowstorm. So this is in February after that. I get a call from Scott. He says, I need your band down at Rippy Side Room, 10 to close. While this blizzard is happening. So it's about like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I called up my band and they were like, oh dude, we're all snowed in. Like we can't drive, we're stuck. I was like, all right, that's cool. So I didn't have a car at the time either. So I Ubered to the airport. Yep, I Ubered to the airport. I stood in the rental car line outside in 9-degree weather for 3 hours waiting for a car. And I finally got a Jeep. So then I took that Jeep and I picked all our asses up. Each one of them, I came and got them. We jammed all our stuff in the back of this Jeep. And we got to Rippy Side Room. We played for 20 minutes and then they shut us down. And then I put all our asses back in the Jeep and I took them all back home. But that was our first gig, and that's how we got on the schedule, because we were willing to say yes. Like, I was willing to do whatever I had to do to get on that stage. And 2 years later, I'm still willing to do it, I'm like, that's...
Good job, Tim.
I think if you want something bad enough, then you owe it to yourself to not accept anything less. So that's my Jeep story.
Yes, that's awesome. Can you talk just for a second about the Blaylock method?
Oh, yeah. So I've been seeing a new vocal coach that is really, really helping me. And she uses something called the Blaylock method. So the Blaylock method is, for you singers, is about really, really small shapes, really, really small movements. So like, even, for example, one thing we've been doing is we're going, just down there in the low. And if you do that, everybody try that real quick. So what that does is that sets your tongue back in your mouth. And what that does is that relieves pressure, like that relieves muscle tension in the back of your jaw. And if you do it right, you'll feel like this air cavity back here. And you'll notice, like even right now, can you hear how my voice is just slightly more resonant than it was before? Because like when you're singing down here for 4 hours, me and Kara have been playing. By the way, I gotta shout this one out right here. I gotta shout out Kara. She has been smashing it these last 2 weeks. We played till Rippy Side until 2 a.m. both Friday and Saturday, and it was awesome. But yeah, so if you do those little movements and pitch glides like yo, stuff like that, what happens is your vocal mechanism becomes stronger, and you'll survive these shifts a lot easier. So check out the Blaylock method. It's really, really cool. I've been learning a lot.
Awesome.
Good job, Tim.
And we also have an amazing vocal coach, Chelsea. If anybody wants her number, talk to me and I'll give it to you. Awesome. What say you, Mac?
What's up? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, wonderful, thank you. I had a thought in my mind and I looked down and saw Mac's sweet face and it's gone bye-bye. So, yeah, warm up. You guys, you singers, warm your voice up. Don't go on cold ever, right? Because longevity is part of this. Man, if I had $1 for every time I had to cover somebody that was losing their voice, and talking is harder than singing. But whatever you do, it's so important to warm up, right? And prepare yourself for the gig. Teamwork makes the dream work. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so today, when you guys get up here, we want you to show us what you got. We want you to treat this as a gig, like it's a gig. We want to see how you talk to the people and how you entertain. We want to see your best, okay? I know it's kind of weird in a room full of peers, but that's it's a privilege. Darren?
Yeah. Awesome. What wonderful information. So wise. I've learned a lot from you. No, really, no bullshit. Really? So, how many full bands we have here? Just the singer put up their hand of the full bands. Okay, we got. You have a full band, sir? Okay, well, just existing full bands right now. Just one or two? Hands up. We have 3 full bands, is that correct, guys? With all the players? Yes, just the singer. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to get the full bands up first. If there's people that just want to get up acoustically, everybody come sign my sheet. There's a call in for full bands and for acoustics. If you want to get up with a full band, there's players in the room, so just meet everybody, like I said, in network. How many drummers do we have here today? Drummers, put up their hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody wants to be a drummer. How many bass players? 1, 2, okay. How many lead guitar players? Okay, awesome. I think we've got enough to make a band. Okay, so full bands, come sign my sheet. People that want to come up acoustically, come sign the sheet, and we'll get you up in order.
Hey everyone, my name is Matt Dyuk. I am the resident drum tech for the circuit. I'm going to try and make this quick. Things break. Everything breaks at some point. That's fine, that's okay. The only thing that we ask for is that nobody abuses anything, okay? So if you break something as a drummer, that's fine, that's dandy. Or if you are a band lead and you notice your drummer breaks something, that's also fine and dandy. Just give me a call. I'm a text away. It's very simple. If you text me right away and tell me what broke and how you broke it, chances are I can either get it warrantied out, so that way it's no cost to the circuit and no cost to us, or I can fix it immediately so that we don't have to deal with busted stuff weighing down your set. Okay? If you don't text me and then warranty expires or something like that, and then it does cost money, that's when people get mad, okay? So it is okay that breakable things break. It is not okay when we ignore the problem, okay? So drummers, let me holler at you before you guys get on stage, so that way we can go over everything that you guys need to do. I will give you all my phone number. I also play down here, so I am not an emergency SOS guy. If you call or text me, there's a good chance that I'm playing a gig as well. Usually I'm done working on drum sets by 10 a.m. because 10 a.m. is when the bars open, and nobody wants me on stage taking half of their drum set to fix something, okay? So drummers, if you could just meet in the back, so that way we're not being rude to any of the musicians that are getting up on stage, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right. Drummers, go see Matt over there. All right, our first full band. First full band, come set up right now, please.
George Arbuckle.
Come set up first full band right now. All right. And everybody, let's give Sean a shout out. He sets up a house kit for all of us to use. Yes. One other thing I want to mention. Hey guys, just your attention for a moment. When the singers get up there to sing, please be respectful and listen to them like you'd like to be listened to. If you do have to speak, go to the back of the room, because the viewers that were live on a couple of platforms, and if you're talking right here, they can't hear the band. So if you need to speak, go to the back of the room. Otherwise, please pay attention and be respectful, because we're all on the same team here. Tim has a couple safety issues. Go.
For all the fronts, everybody up here really, but for all the fronts, just be mindful of the gear. Like Anita said, like they want everybody to entertain. So entertain, but just be careful that you're not stepping on the gear, because this is our house and we need to, make sure we're mindful of it. And also, you don't want to hurt yourself. So please be mindful of the gear. If you want ears, I can set you up ears. But yeah, just be careful with this stuff. All right, first band, who we got? Come on up.
Hey, does anybody have a guitar amp here today that they would be kind enough to share with some of the players? This gentleman right here, they coordinate with him. He's going to be a kind man and help you out.
Shit. Where's Brody?
Hey,
Where's
man.
Brody Bates? Okay. Yeah, he breaks shit. No, he doesn't break shit, but he does hit pretty hard. He's a hard-hitting little bastard. All right. Uno, dos, tres. What up, Brody?
Hello, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to
Whose water is this? Anybody know? Am I allowed to sip on it? All right. Work hard to party hard. Work hard. Little hot.
CEO, the founder of Honky Tonk School, veteran Uncle John Taylor.
I don't know. You need better tone? Twin swing, trying to. Probably want something a little heavier than that. Hold on.
Mark? Your Mark?
One of the
You
trees.
saw Uncle John?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was earlier.
He was here today?
Yeah.
Where was he?
He just left. When you came in here, he left like 5 minutes ago.
Whoops. There we go. There's a tone.
Well, he came here, he spoke for about 10 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got in the video.
Bring the stage volume down just a little bit.
Yeah, we're in good hands. We're having a good time.
Hey, YouTube, be right back.